A very good morning to you once again. The 24th of July 2024. Time seems to be running and lots of activities are there. This is Smart Means Business. We're live here at Smart 24 TV. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kem Chadarin. I will be taking you all through as we look at a couple of things. But just to give you the undertone, of course, it is what is happening right now, the hot cake. What is happening in Uganda yesterday, over 60 arrested in regards to the protests, which were meant to be peaceful. But of course, like a couple of them have said, why do you keep interfering in our constitutional right to come out and speak about our grievances? We are tired of the different corruption that is happening. These are some of the things that they were mentioning throughout. But of course, even days before, we did see a couple of heavy deployment in a couple of places. Look at the NUP head office. We saw heavy deployment in a couple of places downtown as well. You had some military police stationed there. And even up to now, they are still vigilant and doing their rounds all throughout the town. We will be giving you a couple of snaps, of a couple of pictures and images about what transpired yesterday all throughout this conversation. Now, this is Smart 24 TV. We give you the latest national, regional, as well as international news. For those of you who are online right now, you can still be able as well to get us on DSTV 372 as well as GoTV 320. Please let us know as well on our social media pages what you think about some of the topics. Yesterday we had some interesting conversation with Salam Musumba, and she said individually, if at all, she had quite a lot of harsh words coming in for those ones who were seated waiting for others to come in and do something on their part. She said each of us is an activist, although of course we were looking at alternative remedies to this. How do we voice out some of these sentiments that we have? How do we voice out some of our disgruntlement in regards to the cyclical wastage of public resources by those in access, those that get to access it? How do we come out? Of course, with Noah, my colleague, who will be joining us a little bit later, we mentioned he was all for, yes, let us have this silent, this peaceful protest. Let us get out there and talk to our brothers and sisters and let them know that this can happen. And he said, of course, that I was a little bit scared, but I wasn't. I was saying my part was more or less, what are the alternatives? Can we have a sit down? Can we lock up our places of work? Can we show that there is discontentment? Because in most cases, the timing was really bad. There's never the perfect timing per se when you look at this, but in the wake of the Kenyan violent riots, definitely we know that it wasn't the best, and no wonder the turn-up was a little bit low. Please let us know what your alternative way, your alternative action would be in this particular case. Now, just giving you a little bit of a hint into regional news that we will be talking about, we will be looking at the effect of EAC, the East African Community, what is happening in countries such as Kenya. We have seen that there's quite a lot of competition that has been brought in by opening up these borders, these trade borders, and allowing countries to come in. Kenya, you have quite a number of entrepreneurs, quite a number of businesses that are coming into Kenya. You had the Bamburi cement being of interest to a Tanzanian company, but you do have a couple of companies that are coming out and saying we are getting the run for our money by other East African countries coming in and joining our business landscape. Quite a lot happening in regards to that. Kenya. We do have as well 14 countries coming in. We will give you some interesting news about all these different, COMESA and EAC. What are those 14 countries saying? There's quite some exciting positive news coming in there on different ways in which opening up of trade. And Uganda, of course, is going to maximize on this. We've had different stakeholders, key players, come in and say, Ugandans, can you wake up? Can you wake up and seize this moment? Can you move away? Let's get straight into agro-industrialization. Let's move away from just subsistence. Let's move away from just looking at our small little beans and maize. Can we open the borders? Can we open the farms and really plant looking at export? Can we now can we think about value addition? Can we think about moving on to the next step? You do have particular programs right now, particular projects such as the Grow project, really looking, it's almost like a buffet with all these different services that they are giving out, able not only just as mentorship, but being able to avail these to women-led businesses. Not only is it for business for women, but it is as well for the men. If at all the woman has 51% shares within that company, then definitely, and the spouse, whether it is a spouse, whether it is a business partner who is male, has 49%, he is eligible to tapping into this. So it's not exclusive. It's not just an exclusive sort of thing for women, but you do have as well the men employees, the male business partners partnering into this. But the great thing about it, like we did mention in the couple of conversations that we've held with key stakeholders, Grow stakeholders, they have been saying that this is like a buffet. It has never really happened before. You haven't had such a big project at that magnitude be able to come into Uganda. And you can have your registration services, you can have your registration, being able to follow up, register your business. And then if at all you want to get into export, then you move on to the next part as well, have the export board be able to certify you and have all the relevant certification and paperwork to be able to export. And then, of course, you have all the nitty-gritties, the mentorship and the different financial literacies, the upscaling, the different, how's your packaging, all these different services can be found under one roof. It's an amazing project that is currently there. Now, others as well have come out and said, let us wait. Let us wait when it comes out to different stakeholders, such as partner financial institutions. Will they change their attitudes towards women, women seeking capital from them? Will they continue to undermine them? These are some of the things to watch out. Now, something else that Salam Musumba in our conversation mentioned yesterday, she was quite angry about it, and she said, you know what, if you do not have time to stand up for what you feel you should, this is the time to seize the moment. It's a time to come up. Then it is up to you. She had quite some nasty words, and we will be looking at some of those clips and asking you as well, what do you think? Salam Musumba was right there yesterday in our conversation that we had on Business Insight, and saying, Ugandans, stop sleeping. Ugandans, can you rally up? It's not just about sitting down and crying wolf. There are three particular things that she mentioned. Choose your leaders wisely. Choose your leaders wisely. Stop just getting that sugar and soap and then the occasional 10,000 thinking everything is okay. No, choose your leaders wisely. Number two, when it comes to that, she also as well mentioned declutter. It's not just about financial gain or looking at the different ways in which you can amass all these bags of monies and the sacks of monies. No, it is up to you to see that you leave a legacy. And then, of course, she had much more news. Very interesting. We will show you just a clip of a couple of things that she said. Those are images coming in right now on what happened yesterday. Poor turnout, poor turn up, definitely. I will be asking my colleague here what is happening. Of course, you do have quite a number of those that said, you know what, we don't need to have this. We don't need to have this. We have had moments whereby we have been told, like we were told, go eat some food and don't worry about the different things out there. We are handling them. The legal system is doing something about it. So go eat some food, eat some yams, and stay home and do your work. Was it a success?
It was a success.
Oh no, here you are. Look at that. Look at that.
The thing is,
look at that.
Look,
was it a success?
Look, You see, some of you anticipated a different atmosphere in Kampala.
Based on the history.
The purpose.
Our memory is fresh. Our memory is very fresh. Yes. So you say that was the youth-led anti-corruption movement. That was successful. How successful was it?
The purpose of a protest is to make sure that the message is raised. It's not to have, you know, just
massive
millions of people. You see, you people don't really understand what a protest is.
You're very optimistic.
It's not about being optimistic. It's a reality. The message is, I think what a number of Ugandans think about when they think about a protest, it's like they have been brainwashed that a protest is about, you know, aggressiveness.
Yeah, no.
You get there's that level of aggressiveness, and then they anticipate a lot of vandalism on the street and breaking things, and you know, that kind of. A protest is simply raising awareness, raising your concerns, and this message was passed. This message is all over the world right now. This message is on all international media houses. This message is on Smart 24 TV. It wouldn't be there if these young people, in hundreds or tens of them that went to the street, did not go to the street. But because they went to the street, the message was protested. And the people are aware, internationally, people are aware of what their concerns are. That's a protest.
Okay.
There are people who protest. There are those who go to the extreme, by the way. You find one person is having a hunger strike, stays hungry, comes and sits in front of an office. We have seen those people. Yes. They have protested. There are those who go to the extreme, like the guy who went and burnt himself. Now that is to the extreme. Yeah. In the US, he was protesting against, you know, the Jewish invasion of the Israel invasion of Palestine. He poured fuel on himself and burnt himself. One person. Matador. So the picture that that people are trying to create of, you know, it was a failure and all that. The protest wasn't a failure. It was a success. Just that. It was a success in light of the different numbers that have been amassed before. Exactly, and the message has been portrayed to the world.
I mean, sarcastic. Yes.
The message has been
given the turn up. Given the turn up, you've missed that.
But I think when you look at the turn up, it also shows you. Maybe that's what we can look at and say maybe the turn up. Yeah, the turn up was very small compared to how it was hyped. Yeah. The turn-up was very small, so it means that
there's quite a lot of
people scared, minding their own problems, or they are scared. But I mean, you would be scared in Uganda. Why? Because the military was bigger than, the number of military was, this is our roundabout here. The number of military was bigger than the population that went to strike. With all that is heavy deployment. And also, constitutionally, we're not supposed to see the military here like that. You get? The army has a job to do. If there is peace, which is different.
If there is peace threatened, why wouldn't there be such deployment? If there is peace threatened, I think there's a reason why.
There's no peace that was threatened.
There was an intention.
There was no peace that was threatened. Even tension was unnecessary. I don't know why you were tensed up personally, because I saw you here really crying for businesses. But there was no... Oh my God.
Didn't you see them? Didn't you see them?
No tension.
Didn't you see them standing on the balconies of the different places and just looking down in indifference?
Let me take you back into some of the scenarios.
Action speaks.
Let me take you back into some of the scenarios. Why I think sometimes we as Ugandans and as a government, I think sometimes they tend to misappropriate resources. In Mbale, I think 2021, 2022, 2023, around there. You remember that flood that happened in Mbale? Yeah. Do you know that so cars were drowned in water? There's a supercustom that had about 8 people that drowned in water in that flood. But what happens is that day, us who were watching the news, it was civilians that were pulling out these people from the water, dead bodies. Civilians were doing humanitarian work, and of course a little support from Red Cross and other, you know, and stakeholders. Now, constitutionally, when you read the UPDF Act, it clearly shows that the UPDF is supposed to be deployed during disasters. It's supposed to be deployed on the borders. On the borders, of course, we are doing amazing. Yeah. But now, during disasters, UPDF is supposed to be deployed. That day, we didn't see a single UPDF deployed.
Yeah.
But the energy that the government uses to deploy against peaceful protesters is unrealistic. And of course, Doreen is going to come and tell us, you know, there was a tension. There was no tension. They were just young people with placards portraying a message that the government should embrace and say, okay, I think these young people are also awake that some of the leaders are actually doing wrong. Do we get the picture? Yes. To me, that's what I look at. So, let's stop crying.
Please, just put back that footage. Put back the footage. I want Noah to see something. Just of the persons, the business persons looking up. I just want Noah to see them standing on the balconies. Really?
What is wrong with that?
Standing on the balconies of the business, looking down at the protesters. This is not the first time. When you look at what happened with Chaglani, yes, coming up, and you know the way you see, look at that, look at that. This is downtown, right? And you have all these persons just looking around. One is even crossing his legs, by the way, looking on and saying, "We're not going to be party to this."
We are in line with the protesters. Yeah. How many civilians do you see there?
What are they part? No.
What was the business?
But I want you to look at the business person.
I have analyzed this picture. There's a young woman who is crying and is being arrested by about how many police officers?
Yes, just away from that for now. I want you to look at what is happening to the business persons, but also this sort of like indifference. What we're trying to say, and it boils down to the actions, and this is why I said Noah yesterday. I said it must be worthwhile, and we will be showing this get really all throughout the day in a discussion, because we had our team get down there. Of the interview, Noah, because when they were talking to the business persons and saying, is it worthwhile to get out and join this protest? They're saying, no, we just want to get back into our things. Let's live. Okay. Yes, let's live. And this is the action that belies that. Yes, that really settles that. Now, what you are trying to really get the inclination on your part is that they were too scared because of the heavy deployment and all that. But how many times, look at what happened with Noop Boss coming out and really what happened during that time, just a couple of years back, when Robert Sentamu was coming out, but you've had these moments.
I think I want to correct you.
No, you've had these moments
in this scenario,
whereby people join them.
Do not bring the Bobi Wine scenario into this peaceful
process. We're looking at participation. We're looking at citizen participation.
But what are you participating in? If I go and participate in Champions League, I'm not the same player as that one who plays in Coca-Cola. You understand? The other one was a different league. You understand? That one had a lot of anger. And had a lot of anger. Because I think when you talk about the Bobi Wine issue,
it boiled down to human rights.
2021.
It boiled down to human rights. Whenever Bobi Wine has been out there, he has had support. We're talking about participation. We're talking about citizen participation in the different causes that pain them. Okay? We're talking about that. Whenever he has come out, because these are the last couple of riots that we had. It was brought out, it was broadcast about the intention. Listen,
his statement was, why don't you let me
speak? Definitely they were at the forefront, very vocal about the fact that Ugandans should come out and rally and stand together. And you had a couple of citizens really come out and participate in this. But when you look at the citizen laxity, they're all, what it is saying may not be necessarily fair. It may all be about, let our businesses go on as they investigate. And this is what showed it right there. And I said this yesterday, Noah. I said it. We are in that time post-pandemic. You are refuting this, but we still are where we're trying to get back on our feet. And this,
you have tried
this
so hard.
Is an action that tells you that.
To justify your point. and I think it has not really come out as we intentionally want to look at the protests and their intention. I think the best way to look at this situation is to analyze the justification, analyze the motive for the protests, and also make sure that we do not contradict it with stakeholders who were not the organizers of this protest. I'll tell you one thing, for any protest to happen, of course, the government will look at the opposition like they should be the ones, but I think this time round, you saw that even the Bobi Wine you're talking about came out and said, we are not the organizers. We are not the organizers of the protests, but as Ugandans, they can go on the street and also join the protest.
No,
but they did not.
No, that was an example. That was an example. We had Salam Musomba come out here.
Yes.
We're looking at citizen participation. We're looking at the fact that whether you want it or not, whether you're passionate or not, the reality is that the turn-up was low.
Of course the turn-up was
low. The turn-up was low.
But the protest was successful.
It is there in your own eyes. It depends on what you're looking at. Yes, what is your measurement?
The turn-up was very low.
Because really, if you're looking at the success...
And to be honest...
If you're looking at the success, really, any person will tell you that normally when it comes to countrywide intervention, the masses matter. For you to have just a miserable couple of people, it's not worth it.
Did you watch what happened in the parliament?
Tell us.
The members of parliament yesterday rose up because of the youth, the few youth they're talking about who came on the street.
Yes, and for once they are bothered.
The demands were heated up. Do you know why? Because there are a few youth that were outside attempting to march to parliament and demand for accountability from the Right Honourable Speaker. Yesterday I saw a member of parliament who was as angry as even forgot to address the speaker formally, and he called her by name because he was angry. Why can't Doreen accept us for debate? He put the speaker's name there. You understand?
Yeah.
The protest was successful.
To you.
In communication, in media and a journalist, you know that if you provoke a message, if you are able to make a topic a national agenda, you understand that in every corridor is being discussed, the protest is a success. You make it look like if it hadn't been for them, that is when it came all out. This discussion was already on the media from way back. What is the intention?
It was already on the media. What they did was come out in small numbers, a couple of them, and then do this, and it was a flop. It was a flop. Take it or leave it. What is your measurement parameter here? There were no numbers. Why are the numbers not there?
Let me remind you, from yesterday, your perspective was...
And you based it on fear.
You understand it?
Yes, potentially.
So since nobody vandalized anything, it was a flop.
You live in a cocoon.
Since there was no riot, then it was a flop.
Exactly.
Since police did not, struggle, they arrested them immediately.
We really thank the police so much. I particularly thank the police so much. It was a very successful intervention in this regard, because we were not looking at any particular violence coming out, especially given the timing. But of course, given that they did not disturb anyone at any particular time, we would want to say, of course, that this conversation is not going to go down, that those who are guilty must pay back this money, that this vice definitely must stop. But we do also want to appreciate the police for quelling any particular intended violence. I think this has to be talked about.
Stop justifying what's not.
This has happened in Kenya. You forget very quickly.
There was no intended violence.
You forget very quickly.
There was intended violence against the citizens.
Let's take a short break. We'll be right back after this. Successful. Such a